Ben McKee, West Rucker, go Vols 24/7 here at Hawkins Field on West End, where Tennessee just lost to Vanderbilt 3-0 in the series finale of this weekend's three-game set. And pretty simple, Wes, in terms of the analysis. Tennessee could not hit the baseball today. 3 hits, and all 3 belonged to Dylan Dreiling.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you're making like a pros and cons list about today, it's like pros, Dylan Dreiling still raking lefties. Cons, everything else. It was not a good day for Tennessee. And you know, then we've seen days where Tennessee hasn't been great offensively, at least to start, but then it usually gets going. So you just get accustomed to seeing like, okay, they're going to get going. They're going to get going. And Florida, you know, last week was the first time where I was like, I don't think they're going to do it. And then they still did it and scored 11 runs. But today it just didn't happen. Like they got a couple on base in the 5th and 7th with nobody out. Got nothing out of it. I mean, you play like that, you don't deserve to win the baseball game. I think they deserve to win this series, but they didn't deserve to win today, and that's what you get.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think you do have to give a lot of credit to Vanderbilt, obviously. J.D. Thompson and Devin Futrell, those two guys were terrific. Thompson started in the game, 6 scoreless innings, and then Futrell comes in and closes this thing out. I mean, they were dominant on the mound, quite frankly. Tennessee needs to make adjustments, but those guys, their stuff looked really good today.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because, you know, you look down the road, Tennessee could see a Hagen-Smith at some point or something, and, you know, Tennessee's been pretty good against lefties this season. All the lefties have gotten better than they were last year against lefties. I will say that Burke has had a rough few weeks other than a couple moments, and that's not great.
He had a good day yesterday with a couple
he did. He had a couple good hits yesterday. It's not like he's been bad, but he's not looked quite as dominant, right? And, you know, Tiers, other than the one tremendous at-bat against the lefty, you know, to get the go-ahead homer on Friday, other than that, didn't do a lot against the lefties, it didn't seem like this weekend. So it's not like it's one guy or one thing. It's just kind of a collective thing. This team doesn't have a lot of bad days, so when they happen, they feel probably more problematic than they are. But it's normal to occasionally have a bad day, and it was just a bad day offensively.
Yeah, baseball being baseball today more than anything. On the mound, it also did not help that Tennessee goes down 2-0 in the first inning, and then 3-0 after 2 innings. Just was not Xander Seacrest's best start. Tony Vitello said after the game that the feedback he was receiving from guys such as Cal Stark was that there was just too many pitches left over the middle of the plate.
Yeah, I mean, you know, when you go with the opener, which Tennessee's done a couple times, you know, or for several weeks now, when it goes right, you look like a genius, right? And when it goes not that right, when it goes badly, people are going to go, what are you doing? Why were you doing that? Well, it's because mathematically it's the best chance for them, but that doesn't mean it's 100%. And so, you know, Seacrest left a couple balls over the middle of the plate with his stuff. SEC lineup, middle of the plate, not going to work. Got a couple balls hit pretty hard. So that is what it is. Even the one that was hit out of the yard, it wasn't like it was smoked. It was a wallpaper, but it counts. You know, it's a home run. So, you know, Snead was great. So that's a good sign again. A really good weekend for him. But just the opener thing didn't work. It usually works. It didn't work today.
And at the end of the day, the pitching staff allowed 3 runs in 9 innings. It was not a great start, as we have some people join us here on this edition of Around the Horn. But
do you think they know who's Ben and who's Wes, unlike the fan yesterday?
I would hope so. I'm just glad that you can feel good about yourself. I kid. But no, at the end of the day, the pitching staff only gave up 3 runs. Even though the opener didn't quite open well, they still gave up 3 runs. The offense didn't do its job, and that's because Nate Snead was dominant or really strong once again.
Yeah, I mean, you hold an opponent to 3 runs in a metal bat game, you should win. You do that in a wooden bat game, you should win. Like if you hold a team to 3 runs, you ought to win the game. So the pitching staff, not a perfect day, but really, I mean, other than a couple pitches that Seacrest would really like to have back, they did their job today, right? I mean, even there were a couple times where, you know, Vandy loaded the bases, a little bit here and there, some damage, but they managed it. They managed it all day. They kept Tennessee in the fight. As a pitching staff, you know, you go down 2-0 in the first inning, and then you allow 1 run the next 7 innings. You've done your job. You've more than done your job. You just, you know, complimentary thing. You got to have some help. And at some point, you know, they gave Tennessee some momentum. Tennessee goes back to the dugout, gets a couple guys on base. Nothing happens. It's just one of those days.
Absolutely. Tennessee will be back in action on Tuesday against Belmont, the final midweek game of the season. And then the final series of the season begins on Thursday against South Carolina. That'll be a 3-game series, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And we've got coverage of it all, everything Tennessee baseball, up at the site at GoVols247.com. We wish all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. And for Wes Rucker, I'm Ben McKee.